I apologize. Oh, hey guys. How's it going? Anyhow. So, whoa. Fuck, dude. Dude, I got fucking fire ants in my trailer where I'm at. Last night, a big fucking spider came running super fast from the corner up into the ceiling. I'm pretty sure I killed him. So I'm like on edge in here, man. Like, oh, dude, fucking these fire ants are no joke, bro. I finally got some poison, though, for him today. Anyway, so it's hilarious. Hilarious. So I was doing a little commercial watch, you know, like cop watch. Cop watch is when you watch the cops. You watch cops. When you usually use a fucking camera and you do cop watch. So when you see a cop stopping somebody, you turn on your camera. And a lot of times the cop will be fucking bullying and harassing, you know, like some old lady or something. That's cop watch. So you're watching the cop as the cop abuses his power. Commercial watch is the same. Commercial watch, you watch these so-called truthers with these massive platforms abuse their power and grift and shill and lie. Commercial watch. So I did a little commercial watch today. Richie from Boston, right? Oh, this was gold, dude. So Richie from Boston, dude, of course he's in Boston. This is ridiculous. Like, this motherfucker doesn't even take his own advice. If he believed half the shit he said, he would be semi-off grid like I am. I'm far more off grid than Richie from Boston. Now, when I talk about Richie from Boston, I don't mean to pick on him because they're all like this. It's just Richie from Boston is a great case study, like case in point. Like, look at this, right? So, like I said, if this dude believed even half of the shit that he says, half of the clickbait, fear porn bullshit that he says, he would be as far off grid as I am. And I've been living out here for 8 fucking years, dude. But he lives in Boston. Right? So he wants to make a point. He wants to show you something. So he rides his bike 10 miles out of Boston and then he's like walking through taking video of it and acting like it's a jungle. Like, this is a swamp. This is a swamplands. This is I'm out in the deep forest. And he's like 10 miles outside of Boston. And he's videoing, look at, I'm in the deep, deep forest, right? And he's like, and then he's videoing, he's like, do you notice something? And then he's like, there's no insects anywhere. There's no wildlife, there's no frogs. These people, they're killing everything, right? They're killing there should be flies and frogs and wildlife all over here. And there's nothing. There's maybe 1 or 2 birds. And he's like going on, right? And Richie versus natural law. Guess who wins? So Richie's out acting like he's a fucking expert geologist. And he's like walking around. Don't you notice that? Do you notice something? There is no life out here because they're killing everything. They're killing all the bugs and all the wildlife and all the frogs and all this shit, right? And he's like walking around going on, talking about how he's in the deep, deep forest when he's like 10 miles outside of Boston. And look, you see, there's no wildlife out here at all, right? So he's acting like he's an expert geologist. He's acting like he's in the deep, deep forest. And he's acting like, you know, he knows that he should be seeing all kinds of wildlife and stuff. And therefore, because he's not, they're killing everything. They're killing all this stuff. They're just killing it, right? So then a few minutes go by and there's like footsteps and he turns the camera and he looks and there's a fucking deer, a big ass fucking deer, like 10 feet from him. I mean, if that is not fucking pure irony, dude. Like, there's a deer 10 feet from him. And then an owl starts hooting. Oh, oh, or it's like a hawk starts. Ah, 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 ah. And then he's sitting there videoing the deer. And so he's just lecturing everyone on how you see there's no wildlife out here, therefore they're killing everything. And then what are the chances that a deer would be that close, would just walk right up to him? Like, that's natural law pushing Richie from Boston shit in. That's natural law showing the audience who is the fucking dude, because it's not Richie from Boston. And so it's like natural law just fucking, and of course Richie from Boston doesn't compute this. Like, if it was me and I was doing that, I'd be like, dude, I'm not uploading this video. This is stupid. I just got my ass handed to me by natural law, trying to put some clickbait out of how everything is dying and stuff. And then minutes later, a fucking deer comes walking up 10 feet from me, dude. Like, literally. And hawks start hawking and shit, right? And then to add insult to injury, because he's blaming it, it's all the evil elites that are killing all the frogs and killing all the wildlife. And then here comes a deer, right? And then he keeps going on, you know. And it's all the evil elite's fault. And then you can hear voices in the distance. You hear people. And it's like, well, that's your problem. See, here's the thing. If you're 10 miles outside of Boston and you're wondering why there isn't that much wildlife in the forested area 10 miles outside of Boston, well, it's very obvious why there would be a lack of wildlife, is because the city of Boston is 10 miles away. Wildlife don't want to be anywhere near it. So, and he's talking about how it's the elites are doing this, right? I mean, this guy, again, if he believed even half the shit that he fucking spews all over the place, he wouldn't even live in Boston. He would be as off or more off the grid than I am. And he has more of the means to be further off grid than I do, with his fancy fucking survival Jeep, his fucking $150,000 survival Jeep. Like, if I had that, it's like, dude, this guy. But he instead he chooses to live in Boston, and he says he's forced to, but no, he's not. He could live the way I am. See, he doesn't want to live the way I do, because I don't have running water. I don't have a sink with running water. I don't have a shower with running water. I don't have a toilet with running water to flow. You see, he just doesn't want to be inconvenienced with living off the grid or semi off the grid. But he'll say he's forced to live in the city of Boston. It's all bullshit. And so natural law just totally makes a complete mockery of Richie from Boston. And he's like, he can't even see the forest for the trees, no pun intended. Like, he's just like, whatever, dude. Here comes a fucking deer right after he's going on and on to how, don't you notice there is no wildlife here? And then the fucking, and he still doesn't get it. Like, if I was him, I wouldn't have put that video. So anyways, whatever. So then the people start walking up while he's blaming it's all the elite's fault that there's no wildlife out here, which there is. And like I said, first thing to conclude is, well, if you're 10 miles outside of Boston, that's your obvious reason why there would be a lack of fucking wildlife. No wildlife wants to be anywhere near Boston. People like me don't even want to be there. I'm like thousands of miles. Dude, I'm like hundreds of miles from the nearest city because I don't want to be there. And neither does the wildlife. Only people like Richie from Boston want to be there. For who knows why. Probably because, that's where all the prestige and money, and property is. That's where you buy your $150,000 survival Jeep, and, it's all part of his shtick to live on right in the heart of the grid. So then the people, you can hear the voices, and he's like, oh, now here comes the people. And see, this is the other thing. Richie wants to blame the elites when it's not the elites. I mean, the elites, sure, but it's everyday people. Those are the people. Like, and see, the reason he only focuses on how it's all the elite's fault, and he doesn't talk about how all these sheeple, they're fucking as much, if not more, of a problem than the elites, is because those sheeple are his audience. And he doesn't want to be offending his own audience, because that's where the money is in his audience. And so he continues to blame the elites and puts no accountability on people, all these people that live in Boston. Like, they're all a bunch of fucking scum fucks. But see, all the scum fucks are Richie from Boston's audience. That's who he panders to. So he can't address his audience and their accountability for all this fucked up shit going on in the world. No, it's all the elite's fault. It's pure, it's like grifting shillery 101 is you don't ever apply accountability onto your audience. It's always Satan's fault. You know, Satan made us do it. It's always just like the preacher never puts accountability on the congregation. It's always that Satan is doing it. You know, the evil elite. It's not just the people. No. And see, this is where, like when I was talking about the band Nuclear Assault, see, Nuclear Assault is an example of real truthers because they're putting the accountability on the people. Nuclear Assault says we are the enemy when we allow all this shit to happen. See, Richie from Boston can't do that because that'll offend his audience. He needs to stroke the ego of his audience and tell them what great people they are and just keep blaming Satan. It's Satan's fault and it's the elite's fault. It's Bill Gates' fault and Fauci's fault. It's not the people. See, but this is the thing. Like a real truther, like Nuclear Assault as an example, says it's we are the enemy. We become the enemy. We bring like this shit because nobody stands up to any of it. And Richie from Boston can't address his audience in this manner because Richie will lose his audience. Because Richie from Boston is a dime a dozen. Just like all these churches are a dime a dozen. If people don't like what Richie from Boston has to say, they'll go to Crow House. Or all these other ones. There's all these other ones. And so if Richie from Boston tells his audience the truth, that they are the enemy, they are fucking causing all these problems by all the choices that they continue to make going along with this system. If Richie from Boston addresses his audience and puts accountability on people, they'll just go to Crow House. They'll just go somewhere else because these guys are a dime a dozen. Just like the churches are a dime a dozen. If the people in the congregation don't like what the preacher is saying, it doesn't matter. It could be more true than anything that they'll hear at any other church, but they're not there for the truth. They're there to have their egos stroked and and patted on the back and told what a wonderful person they are and what a wonderful job they're doing. Right? So the people come into the forest, they're all talking. You could tell they're like some touristy. They probably got cases of beer and they're, and he's like, oh, here comes the people. And see, therein lies your problem. As much, if not more so, than all the Bill Gateses and Fauci's and all these other people of the world. It's your everyday sheeple. But because sheeple are Richie from Boston's target audience, because it's not quality of subscribers that Richie is after. It's quantity of subscribers that Richie is after. So sheeple are the masses. So he tells the sheeple what the sheeple want to hear. But see, the reason that this deep, deep forest 10 miles from Boston lacks, wildlife is because of the people. People come there, drink beer, throw fucking beer cans all over the place, throw cigarette butts all over the place, run a fucking muck, running around like a bunch of wild fucking retards all over the place. just trashing the whole fucking place. And that's what people on the grid people do. They fucking just go around, they throw their garbage everywhere, they're fucking drunk and high and fucking and cracked out on fucking big pharma pills all the time and everything. That's what all these on the grid people do. So when in this deep forest that's like 10 miles from Boston, see, Richie doesn't want to tell you the truth. And then it's just ironic the deer comes walking up and is like standing like 10 feet from him for like 3 or 4 minutes, just chilling, eating and stuff. While he's trying to tell his audience that, look, don't you notice something? There is no wildlife here. So, I mean, it's just, come on, you guys. Like, this is, and again, Richie from Boston is a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen. Like I said, if Richie says a truth that his audience doesn't like, well, then there's plenty of other Richie from Bostons all over the internet that they can go to. So Richie has to be very careful what he says. Richie has to be very careful what truths because his GoFundMe will suffer. The next time he puts up a GoFundMe, instead of getting $50,000 in a month putting up a GoFundMe, he'll only get like $5,000 or. So Richie has to be very careful to treat his audience with kid gloves. Like, that's the opposite of a truther. Like, that is the opposite of a fucking truther. And again, Richie's a dime a dozen. They're all like this. They're all of them. Sorry. And that's why I say, I don't mean to pick on Richie. It's just that he's such a great case study. He's such a great case study. Like, look, this is your average dime a dozen fucking truther. Dropping GoFundMes that get $50,000 in a month and shit. Like, and they're selling gold and selling all their bullshit and plugging all their stupid, fake, fucking commercialized garbage in their video. And people that care about the truth have a right to be upset about this and to call Richie out, I don't necessarily think Richie's a bad person. I think that Richie from Boston was born that way. He's just naturally incapable of being honest with himself. And there are many such unfortunates. They seem to have been born that way. Like, they're not at fault. I'll use a quote from the Bible, since Richie's all into the Bible. Hey, if Richie could talk about the Bible and be able to drop fucking GoFundMes that bring in $50,000 in a month, then I should be able to talk about the Bible, right? There's a Bible quote that says, "Who art thou to speaketh against God? Does not the potter have power over the clay to create one vessel for honor and another for dishonor?" God creates these people, and there's a reason that these people are put before us. And unfortunately, sometimes, maybe more often than we like to really acknowledge, they're put before us to show us as an example of what not to do. Don't commercialize the truth. The truth should be free to everyone. Be cool. Don't be a grifty, shilling liar. Just be cool. Be honest, And it's like, again, that's so hilarious that natural law just comes and visits Richie from Boston, contradicting everything that he says, and he still doesn't figure it out. Like, if I was trying to fucking pull some clickbait, fear porn bullshit in a video where I'm like, look, there's no wildlife anywhere because they're killing it. The Bill Gateses of the world are killing it. And then here comes a deer and approaches me like 10 feet away from me and just is hanging out, chomping on leaves and shit. Like, I wouldn't put that video up because it totally contradicts everything I'm saying. And he doesn't even have the fucking wherewithal to, like, not post the video. Well, because it's clickbait. Look, a deer came up to him. Wow. I'm sure a lot of his brain-dead sheeple audience were really impressed with that. Me, I just found it hilarious that the irony of natural law versus Richie from Boston. Like, you know, these guys, natural law will win in the end. So commercialize the truth all you want, monetize the truth all you want, shill, grift, lie, all this shit all you want. But, you know, you can't escape the pain of natural law. No one can, and no one will. It's just hilarious to see these guys try, you know. So anyway, there you go.